All right, good evening. Welcome to this 5:30 work session, and we're here to discuss the 2026 Health, Dental, and Vision Self-Insurance Renewal. We'll obviously start our regular city council meeting at the conclusion of this work session. We'll probably take a little bit of a break, short break, but actually, we're gonna jump right in. Tracy, would you like to introduce, or do I hit Andy first, or Allie? Tracy, please. Yes, thank you very much.
This year, we went out to the market for renewal like we do every year, and our broker is here, insurance broker that we've used for the past few years. Maybe you've already met Scott if you haven't. He's going to introduce himself in just a minute, but he's going to go through the renewal, kind of how it works and what we're looking at for next year. So if you have any questions, he'll be able to answer those for you. I'll be here as well. But good year, so hopefully we'll give you some good numbers to move forward with. So Scott?
Sounds great. Thank you, Tracy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, as Tracy said, my name is Scott Ogburn, and I am with IMA Financial, and we handle the health insurance renewal for the city, the health insurance plan, the dental, vision, life plans. And so you are currently under a self-insured model, which is quite different than your fully insured model. So when you think about fully insured, think about the way you purchase your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance. Whereas with a partial self-funded arrangement, you're paying a TPA, you're buying access for the state, for South Carolina, you're buying access to the Blue Cross Blue Shield network. We're also paying planned administrators, which is our third-party administrator, which pays the claims. And then we purchase a specific stop loss level, which is currently at $75,000. So we're responsible for every claim until it reaches $75,000. Then the reinsurance carrier, who we purchase insurance from, picks up everything north of $75,000. And so you have the insurance renewal. You should have in front of you. It's about a 2% increase for the 2026 plan year. I'll tell you what, for us, you're no different than many employers. What's driving healthcare costs? One is utilization. Others is just inflation. So when you think about hospital systems, whether that's Prisma, whether that's Bonsecure or AnMed, operating costs are going up. Pharmaceutical costs, if you've been watching the news lately, pharmaceutical costs, particularly specialty meds, are going up. And the current state of our government is not helping us any. So when you think about where we stand currently politically with the federal subsidies being on hold from the federal government, it's put every reinsurance carrier on notice that we don't know what's going to happen to those. So as they are underwriting for 2026, they're having to take into account what happens if the subsidies get cut in half, what happens if the subsidies move forward as they have previous years. So there's a little bit of uncertainty there in the marketplace, which is also causing some employers to see larger increases than others. So when we look across our entire block of business, you're having a very good year, you're getting a very good renewal compared to some others. You can look at other municipalities within a 20-mile radius and look at what they had as a rate increase in July of this year of about 15%. You're coming in a very good spot. So with that being said, just wanted to leave an opportunity if you had any questions on the city's plan, how it works.
Who's the TPA?
So the TPA is Planned Administrators. They are a wholly owned subsidiary of Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina. And then our pharmacy, we switched pharmacy benefit managers this past January to a true ESOP PBM called TrueScripts, which is headquartered in Indiana.
And what's the out-of-pocket max for an employee?
$6,600.
Okay. That's for family or that's for individual?
That's individual. Families times 3.
Pardon?
Times 3.
So family can go up to 18. Okay.
And then you have an HRA that helps offset some of the deductible and out-of-pocket max. And then you have, this past year, implemented the HSA plan. So your employees have two different options, the traditional PPO with the office visit copays and the drug card, and then a traditional high deductible health plan with an HSA, where everything is subject to the deductible and co-insurance.
How do our employees break down in those choices? Like how many choose the high deductible plan versus the regular, if you had to say?
We have about 15 switch over to the high deductible health plan for 2025.
Which is not unusual in a first year, right? Takes some time getting employees, one, accustomed to having to pay everything out of pocket, right? Instead of going and paying an office visit copay or a drug card, all of a sudden now they're responsible for that $500 medication instead of paying a $40 copay for that prescription. So it's just getting the employees used to that. And then those employees who have had success this past year or this year will probably be talking, and we would expect to see the HSA slowly increase over time.
When's the last time we had a catastrophic loss?
Catastrophic loss in terms of
Employee,
Self-insurance.
claims over 75,000. So you have those claims over 75,000. It does happen on an annual basis. You will usually end up with one person that's gonna go over the $75,000. For example, whether it's a heart attack, whether it's cancer, you're gonna have that claim that's gonna go over 75,000. So we do have those on a routine basis. And then the reinsurance carrier picks that up. And we have the ability of changing reinsurance carriers, which we have done over the course of the last 10 years, because the reinsurance market is very fluid. So you'll have some reinsurance carriers that'll come in and that will be excited about a municipality. Others will from the very beginning say, hey, we're not going to insure a municipality. One, because of police personnel. Then you have your public works personnel. So there are some reinsurance carriers where they're just not going to be interested in a municipality, where others, that is their appetite.
so but again, so what, by virtue of your answer, you can expect a catastrophic loss at least every year.
Where the reinsurance carrier is picking up everything.
Right, I understand
Right.
that.
Yes,
Right, where you
yes, you're going to have those.
That health issue. Okay.
And for you, it's one of those where you might have someone that's catastrophic this year. Next year, they're not having catastrophic claims, but someone else will.
Well, that makes the point, because you guys talk about you've had a really good year. So the question, that's why I asked that question. And then also, and this is the other one, as far as all our employees, do we have a younger than usual staff now?
We are going that way, yes.
Okay, that's what a point I'm making, so the younger the better.
Are
Not
retirees
always.
eligible though?
Not always.
Well, I know, the point I'm trying to make of it is yes. Right.
It's, while you would love to have that younger population, they're also the most active, especially with, if you have those folks that are adrenaline folks, right? They want to go skydive, they want to ride motorcycles, they want to do all the things.
Jump off it.
So it's a different type of risk, right?
I know, I got that.
Are retirees eligible?
No.
Okay, so this is just full-time active employees. Okay.
I couldn't pull up my documents, it's not letting me do that. My question though is, if I read correctly, there's not an increase for the employee, but but as an employer, we are actually increasing it so that we can make sure that the cost doesn't impact, because I know about the uncertainty, but I think that's very beneficial that we're not increasing the the premium for the employee.
Your CD staff chose to absorb that small increase this year. So your employees have not had a rate increase over the last 5 years. So when you think about it from a recruiting and retention perspective, you have really done a good job of stabilizing the cost of your health care plan to where there was not a financial impact to your folks.
What was it, $2 this?
It's
That was 2%.
2%.
2%.
2% increase.
And $2 for vision.
$2 for vid,
Yep.
there you go.
Or dental, for dental.
Dental was two.
Dental.
I knew something went up $2,
2% medical, $2 per month per employee for dental.
which is 24, yeah.
And then no changes for the vision, which is, that's fully funded by the employee.
Tracy, you want to fill in everybody about how the wellness program's going, Sonia and everybody? Or Scott can, I mean, whichever.
So as you all know, you have a wellness program. I would commend your staff. We do wellness for most of our employers where that nurse is coming on site, meeting with your chronically ill folks. Typically, it's the 15 to 20% of the population that's driving 80% of your claims, so the old 80-20 rule. Your staff does a very good job of making sure that those employees are given reminders of when Ashley will be here. You have a point system, so your employees are earning points each time they do some of the wellness activities. And so you have a tremendous wellness program, especially from a participatory perspective. When you compare it to other employers similar to your size, I'd say you're probably in the high 90 from a participation perspective, where others are going to typically be in that 75 to 80% range. So, the other thing is to think back. If you think back to why did the city choose to move to a partial self-funded structure versus remaining fully insured, and it's because you do have the control. It's where you can pick your TPA. It's where you can pick your PBM. And if you look back over time and you just took where we were on fully insured basis back in 2016 and where trend is headed, if you'd have been very conservative and just said, if our fully insured rates in 2016 would have only grown 7%, where would we be today? We'd be about $4.5 million less in terms of savings. It's what we've saved over time when you look at just medical trend versus what we've actually spent since 2016. So it's really worked well for the city. In fact, it's actually $4.5 million in savings when you compare it to just trend.
And one of the other things too with being, self-funded this way is over the years, we have been able to make some adjustments to how some of our benefits pay out. Okay? One of those, two of those are specifically with colonoscopies and mammograms. Current plans are required to cover routine only. We were able to make the change, it's been 4 or 5 years now, to where we have a routine and diagnostic mammograms and colonoscopies 100%. So the employee has no out-of-pocket cost on that. And that is huge. You have a lot of employees that go in for a colonoscopy that they think is routine, and then all of a sudden something is found, and they come out with a bill. So employees quit going. So that defeated the whole purpose of paying for routine colonoscopy. So we took that fear away with the colonoscopy and mammograms.
So that goes back to your question and the focus on prevention.
State health plan has a tobacco use penalty now. Does this plan have one?
But they have to do some type of cancer screening, so whether that is, and we promote and give incentive for dental cleanings as well. So from a dental cleaning perspective, it also gives us the opportunity to get that employee or that member into a dentist sooner rather than later, hopefully, to where they can swab. They can have that exam to know if there's any type of mouth cancer. It's also the first line of notification for diabetes and cardiovascular. You find it in a dental exam before you ever find it in a routine physical, which is again goes back to the emphasis on prevention and the way the prevention points are structured.
It's a good job holding the cost down.
On top of that, we also pay the Sullivan Center on campus. I think it's $30,000 a year. And what that is for anything non-chronic. So, and and we have so many part-time employees, this is a way we can help them out. If you get a pink eye or allergies or ear infection, you don't have to make an appointment with a doctor. You can just go straight over and see a nurse practitioner and get your medicine and be on your way.
And will that continue with the agreement that we have now with MUSC?
I'll have to talk to them to see.
So do we sign that on a yearly basis, or
It's pretty much a yearly thing.
it is a yearly?
Yes, that renews, April.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to, since they're not gonna have it anymore, it'll be a whole different organization. I don't know if they'll be that generous.
Just something to keep in mind.
And the great thing about that is that you're capitating your expenses, right? So the great opportunity for the city to just capitate that and keep that at a steady rate instead of seeing inflation or medical inflation. We call it leverage trends, typically run at about 9%. So if you're paying them, let's just say $50,000 today, and it's $50,000 for next year, and you're not seeing that 9% trend of leverage trend, then you're always ahead of what it would cost you if you were buying that same doctor's office visit at a primary care or internal medicine.
Quick last question for me. I know we say we have a healthy balance in the self-insurance fund of like 170. That's a healthy balance. Well, how do we compare it to other municipalities? I don't even know how we quantify that's healthy.
Yeah, I would say you're getting to that spot. I'd say there's probably some room for improvement there. Leslie knows that.
That's where the 2% comes from.
That's where the
Trying
2%.
to get
To that.
more to that fully
I
funded.
thought we had a conversation a couple of years ago that it needed to be 250. That number needed to be, I mean, is that wrong? Do you remember that?
Testing my memory now.
Leslie knows what that number is, but right now, what we've been doing is funding it to a level that we put in the budget that we can afford.
Right.
And then, if something happens, we just transfer money into it to cover it. So we're trying to incrementally increase, like, we wouldn't have had to increase our portion this year, but we're trying to get to that fully funded number incrementally.
It seemed like the target was a number that it was not a stretch to get to if we needed to do it, to get to that report.
I mean, we have in the bank right now like $300,000. So what we're trying to do is, even though we're charging ourselves more, we're just putting it in the bank account to pay the claims. So that way we don't have those hits from the transfers when we have a big claim or a group of claims that are coming in at the same time to pay.
Because you have those peaks and valleys throughout the year.
So you were saying, Scotty, we're trying to get to a certain point. What do you see from other municipalities? Like, just out of curiosity.
If you can get to that $500,000 mark, right, that gives you a little bit of leeway, especially for municipalities when you think about the tax base of it coming and going. That $500,000 mark is probably a good benchmark in terms of what you'd have in your quote-unquote slush fund.
So we're getting there.
You're getting there. And this is one of those years where we're having a good year, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Still got a little more time.
we're on target to be somewhere between 1.7 and 1.8 in our spend, which is less than where we've been the last 2 years. If we could get back to that 1.7, 1.75 where we were in 22, that helps us get to that $500,000 a little bit faster.
Good.
So
So one more question, and I'm sorry I don't know this. So because we're a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, are we getting the similar contracted rates other Blue Cross Blue Shield products are getting for payments per visit, per surgery, per?
So the way South Carolina Blue Cross works, they have 5 different entities, right? All the entities have the exact same discount.
Okay.
So whether you're fully insured, you're partially self-funded, and you're renting the network, you get the exact same discount that a Blue Cross Blue Shield traditional plan is getting, which if you ask them, that's a quote-unquote 50% discount. right? So, the other side of your, is because we are with a independent, if you call it that, TPA, we also have the ability, they don't strong arm us and say who we have to pick as a PBM. So we get to choose our PBM, and doing so, you also get the prescription drug rebates that otherwise Blue Cross Blue Shield would be getting in the background. And so those dollars come back into the plan as a revenue stream to help us get to that number as well.
Other questions, comments? We appreciate it, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, for managing the program. Please relay that to Sonia as well. We appreciate it.
I wish mine only didn't go up. Goodness, mine went up.
Well, we're doing ours next week, but anyway. All right, it is 10 till 6. We'll take a, what do you want, 5 minutes? I'm looking at you.
You looking at me?
Yes, ma'am.
I always get to decide. Why don't we just make it at 6 o'clock?
All right, we'll start at 6 o'clock. We'll reconvene at 6 o'clock. So we'll close out this work session. We'll reconvene at 6 o'clock.
5 minutes.
There you go. All right, cool.
I don't want to be on that list.
All right. Good evening again. If you heard me just about 30 minutes ago, we'll start our regular city council meeting this November 3rd, 2025. Call this meeting to order. First is the invocation and pledge allegiance. Please stand. You are welcome to join me in prayer. Thank you for the many blessings that we have. Thank you for life itself and the ability to be involved in useful work. Thank you for allowing us to come together to discuss our community needs and work together for the betterment of our city. May we be respectful, listen, and learn. Help us to treat all with dignity and respect and our differences to make this life better for all. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You're having to hear me a lot this evening. With that said, we'll start out with public session. Just a reminder, it's a 3-minute limit per speaker. We'll also remind you to please come up when you speak. Attention towards city council. Please sign in and when you approach the podium. Also, we have ADA listening devices. Jeremiah over there to my right, to your left. He has those. So the floor is open for public session. Just as a reminder before I do that is just remember there is opportunity if you want to have public comment during our reports and discussion items, policy items. If those are specifically related, that's when you'll have that opportunity. So the floor is open for public comment, public session, I should say. And we had no emails for this meeting / okay. I'll give it literally 10 more seconds unless somebody. All right, if there are no other, we'll close out that session. Next is the possible approvals for October 20th of 2025. Would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll move into reports and discussion. This is the 2-minute limit per speaker. First is to discuss a resolution committing the city of Clemson to the goal of 0 traffic fatalities and serious injuries by the year 2040. This commitment is required by the FHWA SS4A grant and aligns with the Vision Zero initiative. Nathan.
Evening. So this resolution is a requirement for the SS4A grant for the action plan to be implemented and be able to get further money in either demonstration or implementation grants. The SS4A is the Safe Streets for All. So the idea is that it's for all users. So whether you're a pedestrian, cyclist, motorcyclist, driver, or bus rider or driver, or tractor, or any large vehicle driver, commercial vehicle driver, with the initiative, with the goal for 0 deaths in 2040. A lot of other cities have already adapted some of these and gone through their process of Vision Zero approvals. Dates kind of vary. We thought 2040 was probably actually pretty attainable for us. So looking at that and being able to do this. The other thing that the resolution does is it helps encourage Clemson University staff and city staff to kind of meet on a biannual basis of being able to talk about where we see potential issues, where we see safety needs, and how we can work together to try to eliminate those. So just try to put that more into a writing and a move forward process. So, any questions?
This grant, do other municipalities going after this money as well? Is it something that's very popular across the state, country?
So we
state?
were the first to get an action plan grant in the state of South Carolina. A lot of the bigger cities knew this was, you could see that this was coming on, and they'd actually had their action plan. You talk like LA or Seattle, they had action plans 2 years ago. But that's just because they were already in play and ready to move forward. the next funding, so we see that the implementation grants, which are, your bigger projects of at least $3 million on an 80-20 match, we see those pretty competitive, but the demonstration grants, which are the projects that are less dollar amounts than those, are not actually that competitive. And then it is divided by state, so then we think that's really the target that we're gonna go for once we get the action plan complete.
So to be eligible for that second pot of money, you have to have the action plan. So with us being one of the few municipalities that have the action plan in place, we do think we'll be more likely to receive the actual implementation grant funds.
Is it, you know how much, or is, you still don't know,
It-
depending on what the
it
action?
varies by year and the number of
Okay.
applicants and state, there's 12 different variables, and so you're not exactly sure where that target is you're
Gotcha,
aiming for.
gotcha.
So this is joint with Clemson University with their, like, it's all part of the safety action plan. What do they have to do resolution-wise?
So we are the sole owners of the SS4A. They're going to also sign it as well, just as get one of the provosts to sign it.
Gotcha.
You said who's gonna sign it?
One of the provosts is what I've been told.
Other questions, comments? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Comments from the public? All right. Next is to discuss a naming rights policy. Councilmember Sheriff.
Sure. You guys will recall, we started this several months ago, discussing the need to, from time to time, people ask for requests for things to be named after people, in honor of people, et cetera, either in memory or in honor of someone. And a lot of municipalities have in place policies around that. Jeremiah did a great job of researching this for us, drafting our first. It's in several iterations. This one is a bit shorter and probably simpler, so great job on this. It was posted with the agenda and is also up here, just outlining that we will have a review committee. It doesn't necessarily say specifically who will serve on that. It'll be up to the city administrator. Any request for naming goes to that group. Things will be reviewed once annually by the council as recommended by the city administrator. A couple of important things: the city does reserve the right to remove names. A lot of municipalities and universities have had experience of needing to remove a name as something has occurred later. Unfortunate circumstances, but that does reserve the right for us. We talked about whether or not we should include a person needing to be deceased. We left that off, which is probably makes sense for a municipality, but others might have opinions on that. But I think in general, it's a much improved document. It doesn't say an amount necessarily for a gift. It does say that we may consider naming or renaming something based on donations or gifts or other contributions by our community members or other partners. So thoughts from the group, discussion from the group, suggestions or revisions?
I think this has been needed for a while, so thank you very much for championing this. Thank you, Jeremiah, for finding out what other municipalities are doing in the community. I do have one question, and we may have discussed this in previous, and you'll have to remind me. What was the logic of doing this once a year? Should we not do it semi?
Well, you have an off-ramp for the more typical requests that are usually very small, like, I plant a tree in honor of someone. Can I have a nameplate on a park bench? We'll just handle those as they come in. The large ones are few and far between.
Right.
So if we need to do it more often, we will, but I think you're okay. I mean, it's been a couple of years since we've had anything of significance.
What happens if we have a large donation in the form of land that we end up, how do we deal with that? It's a donation in the form of land, which means now it comes to the city, takes it off the tax rolls. But it's not land that we'd want to turn into a park, so then we become a reseller of that land.
You don't have to accept a gift.
Okay, that's all. I just want to make sure that that's just something that we need to be thinking. I doubt seriously it may never happen, but again, it could happen. You have to really, I think, taking out tax roll is one thing, but then putting yourself in a position you have to resell it. That's where I get real concerned about us now being in the real estate business.
And you don't have to name something for somebody because they gave us something either.
No, I understand. I got that part of
Yeah.
it. It's still though that same issue exists.
I have a question under application guidelines.
verification of community support, including signatures from Clemson residents. How many signatures? I mean, are we talking, to get on ballots and everything else around the country and the state, you have to have so many signatures. Signatures can mean two.
My recollection on that is that was like one of the ways you can show community support. There wasn't
Well,
like any
there's-
kind
yeah.
of specific thing there.
There is documentation of the person's significance, different things, so, maybe either just say verification of community support and
That
not,
might be more accurate, so
and
it
just
doesn't
take
imply a
out-
goal line.
yeah, and take out the including signatures from Clemson residents. That way you don't have to worry about the number or making a number.
Right. It doesn't imply that there's
Yeah.
a magic amount.
The only thing I was gonna say, I think this is really good, so, just wordsmithing, I think, under restrictions, occasion, the city, I think you said may instead of may.
Oh, yeah, it says man, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Typo.
Other comments?
Wouldn't it be nice to have the problem of multiple
Yeah.
gifts in a single year?
That's what I would love to see. That's what I'm doing.
I think we can work it out.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you again for championing this.
So we're looking at streamlining the language about how to rescind, and we're talking about,
Make sure you have
making it
that
more
language
vague
in
about how to demonstrate community support. That can mean a lot of different things.
Just editorial things. And this falls in the category too of like naming something for somebody who's been an amazing citizen. I don't know how, when we named the square for the previous mayor and stuff. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all. All right, next is staff reports. Andy, you're still writing, so you
I
can
was
multitask.
going to remind you that your next meeting isn't on a Monday, it's on a Tuesday. That's because of the PCMA Awards Banquet, where we give out our public service awards for the year. It's over at SWU.
So it'll be November
We'll be getting more details out to you about when and parking and all that stuff soon. Ally, Jeremiah, do you have anything?
We're talking about that. Kudos to Jeremiah. He's done a fabulous job organizing it. And thank you to Blue Ridge for sponsoring the event. So appreciate it.
And thank you for the addition, since we're gonna do a Crime Stoppers Award.
We got,
Appreciate
I
it.
think, over 150.
Yeah, got over 150 attendees and getting out over 30 awards, so.
I will emphasize Blue Ridge is taking care of it. So we appreciate that. Blue Ridge Electric.
That's all we have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. All right. Next is policy action, 2-minute limit as well on this per speaker. First is to consider first reading of an installment purchase revenue bond ordinance. Andy, you just keep on talking here.
This here is first reading of an ordinance to issue debt to fund the projects that we discussed at the previous meetings. As they partially fund Art Center in Abernathy Park. We modified that since we first presented the project, just so we can make sure that the bond amount is with the assets with the longest life. Since a lot of these things will need maintenance and possible replacement within the repayment period. So that's why you see how it's broken out this way instead of with the 4 projects. We will be meeting with the bonding agencies this week, trying to get the best rate we can possible. And we are currently populating the board for the corporation that has to be with it, and I should have all those pieces in place by the end of this week. Anything else?
Is there questions?
Got some questions. I know you won't know until after you go up to New York and everything, but do you have any inkling about what the bond rating will be?
I don't think it'll be as strong as the one we did for utilities, because that was an enterprise fund. You have a lot more control over the income, because the money that's being pledged as repayment is more of an elastic tax. In some cities, it's more elastic than others. With ours, it's pretty rock solid. It's hospitality tax, but it is based on the sale of prepared food and beverage. I think that alone, plus the nature that these don't typically rate as high as other types of bonds. Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna do very well, but I think just by the nature of the mechanism and our repayment pledge is going to make it probably not quite as good as the enterprise one for the treatment plant.
Okay. And another question was the not-for-profit, the corporation that you have to form, and it's not-for-profit, and are you the one that's gonna just think about people who need to be on that? Do we agree, or do you just?
I've shared
Yes.
potential names, and that's the only people, I've been setting up meetings and explaining what it means to be on this
Okay.
board with them. That it's, making sure that they're reviewing the city's financials, making sure the bonds are being used appropriately, making sure the projects are being done on schedule, basic oversight type of activities.
And what about interest rate? You have any clue?
I don't know, what are you seeing?
It's going to depend on the rating for the bonds.
Oh, sure.
And I have not looked at the municipal market index, the MMD, in the last couple of days. It's also going to fluctuate. So you're going to have your base rate, whatever that is, which fluctuates based on global economy, U.S. economy, things that are completely unrelated to the city. And then there will be some credit spread on top of that,
Correct.
which again is again typical, and that's going to be based on whatever the rating is for this debt. I don't know what that will look like right now.
Okay.
And even if I could give you that number today, the bonds probably won't price for not quite a month, maybe a little bit more than a month.
So a lot
now.
can change, yeah.
So a lot could change.
Yeah.
We are requesting an indicative rating. So that means it's kind of their best guess of what it's really gonna come back with.
Yeah.
So we'll have a pretty good idea.
We should, in
Sure.
a couple of weeks.
Okay, that sounds good.
And you had some great names on your potential list of people who serve in that role. You might think about, for pragmatic reasons, a defined year of service in that role, just to increase transparency and have people roll off on a rotation basis. So you're always having some new people serving in that role, just to, I think, again, increase transparency, and so it's not the same group into perpetuity.
That's the first meeting, is setting up bylaws.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and one of the people I met with said, this isn't forever, right?
That can get us in trouble.
Any other comments from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the first reading of an installment purchase revenue bond ordinance as presented.
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll go to other policy items. Consider approval of the 26 health, dental, and vision self-insurance renewal. Tracy. Back up.
Okay, thank you all. As prior to the meeting, we had our work session, went over the rates for next year for the medical, dental, and vision. And what came out of that is to increase the medical rates 2% for next year for the employer, no increase to the employee. Dental rates to go up $2 per month per employee. And the vision stay the same. There will be no changes to the plan itself, though, of how it's designed. Any questions?
Any questions, comments for Tracy? All right, thank you, Tracy. From the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2026 health, dental, and vision self-insurance renewal plan.
Second.
Comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Thanks again, Tracy, we appreciate it. Consider an amendment to the original CAT bus contract by adding an additional bus to service High Point, the Pierre apartment complexes during the 25-26 fall and spring semesters. Brian, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Brian.
Okay, what we have here is we are looking to add a bus to the pier. What has happened with the pier is last year, this time, they had a 63% housing rating in beds. That rating went up to 97% this year. And so we found ourselves trying to Band-Aid a situation where we leaving a lot of students behind, which caused a lot of complaints to the pier. All the pier's fault because they never increased their bus service. So after finally getting a hold of the people with the pier, speaking with the people that I report to here at the city, we discussed them getting another bus to pay for what we were already Band-Aiding for them. And so this is the contract. They wanted additional bus, giving them 3 buses, kind of a mid-morning bus is the additional bus that will provide service for when I say additional bus. And then for next year, so we're gonna amend this year's contract, and for next year, we're just gonna give them 3 buses that they've added into the plan.
So right now there are 2?
Right now, there's 2.
Okay.
And we're running kind of a tripper service through there to try to get the kids to campus. And as you're aware, the university also has, and they're coming up with the no freshman driving policy. So these places are quite naturally filling up, and the dependability of the service is what's important. And I think we had to straighten out some of the language with those areas. That particular complex that had us run the service at 24 hours, 7 days a week, have them do those corrections because the parents were actually thinking it was us. Never took away that thought process, but went over the pier and began to talk with those people and get their managers to see that this was your problem the whole time, not putting you under the bus, but you guys need to kind of help us fix your service. And so in doing so, we kept that bridge alive and well, and we also were able to kind of Band-Aid their service. And they finally took up the ownership and let those parents know that they needed more service as well. And so this is the product of it.
This may be a question you don't know the answer to. I mean, they are charging those students a fee, I'm certain.
I do know they're charging them a fee, but I didn't tell anyone that.
Okay, well, I think it's pretty common knowledge. I don't know whether it's a fee at the beginning or a monthly fee or whatever the case may be, but I know they're paying for it.
Well, the apartment, but see, the parents thought that we were charging them a fee. And so the correction.
Boy, they were all messed up,
Exactly.
weren't they?
And from the website, there was something up on the website that said that we were offering 24-hour service as part of the product too, which helped sell those beds. So instead of making it ugly on everyone's part, the whole objective is to make it smooth. Like I said, we're trying to become more reliable in what we do, but be honest, and certainly the individual parents that I was able to talk to say, hey, you know, we're working with the pier and convincing them and seeing it. They kind of realized that the pier was charging them, and that was their problem to deal with the pier on, but we were going to do our best, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's messed up. What they see is that transit is a part of that product, and so my objective is always to give transit the best life. And so that's what all this is about.
Well, if we can take the mopeds off the road from there to the campus, that's a good thing. I know I had a family that was talking about their kid was using a moped. I'm thinking that is dumb.
Worse than.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I see that there's a separate contract in here for High Point. Is High Point in the same?
Yeah, it's the core High Point Pier.
Yeah, okay.
So whenever we do it, it's done in that contract language is the same. So we change one, it's just across the street, a few customers.
But they didn't have the problems like the pier?
No.
No, okay.
The pier is the one that has and as a matter of fact, the pier is now building a 3rd phase in there, and so next year, that's a conversation. They have a problem at night where I'm literally running what we call the articulate bus to Caterpillar just to service that, and technically I'm giving them 2 buses just to kind of fit that crowd. And so we're stretched on both ends, but we're also trying to remedy the problem. We realize it's a problem. Our goal is just to remedy the problem, not to run around and say we have a problem. So, and if it's something that we can't meet in the challenge, we have open conversation and dialogue with them, and we try to Band-Aid as best we can until then. And like I said, I come to the people that I need to come to and say, hey, this is gonna be the best move for us to do, and we'll have to increase them and kind of stand firm on that. So again, the whole objective is for us to be dependable and reliable.
So what time's the last bus run at night?
Well, the bar closes at,
Technically,
that's the answer.
technically 2.
The bar closes at, and we get all the kids home.
It took, really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That late?
You need to, John, one day you should go down there at 2 o'clock and see on downtown.
Come in, I invite you to come, I'm there.
I believe you.
Come with us, and you'll kind of see what's going on, and you'll say, wow.
Well, so how many buses are stacked up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Well, 3, and they're all full.
Wow.
And,
You're kidding.
and on occasion, some kids are left behind that we have to kind of sweep through and grab. Back where they belong. So, you know, only thing I say is we all have to remember we were once students, and so.
No, I mean, I get that, but I think we're going way, I mean, we are really going way beyond, you know. I mean,
Okay, what's the objective if we don't?
No, I agree, I absolutely,
sir.
We're
I
just
absolutely applaud everything
being
you're doing.
gracious.
I really am, it's just
Yeah, we're being
like,
gracious.
wow, you know, really.
That's
Come on,
really
John,
it.
We'll
though.
go downtown one night and ride the bus.
And they'll tell you one of the things I don't want is anybody to be surprised and somebody's parent call and say, you left my child or you put my child off or something
Yeah.
that, you know, we can, it's just a little bit of customer service.
So
That's all
does
it
this
is to me.
contract include those hours?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm not gonna cheat us. But we still gotta provide them with what they
Right,
need,
right.
so.
But I'm gonna ask this question, it doesn't affect today, so those same buses are taking kids on the red route and all that at 3 o'clock in the morning?
No, once that service is done, it's pretty much done. The red route, game time, our biggest problem at the end of the night, non-game time, is that pier route and during holidays like this recent holiday, the Halloween holiday. So that pier route has a lot of young students. It actually has a frat house over there.
Right.
So it's a lot going on in that neighborhood. It's the only neighborhood that we actually have transit stops in it, so the kids know where to stand and where to be. And they actually have a bar at the end in there as well. And then they'll ride over to, what is that barbecue place over there? Is it a barbecue place over by the university?
Rolling Mills? I mean, not Rolling Mills,
Smoking Pig?
That's it.
Smoking Pig?
You go to La France?
The Smoking Pig?
You go to La France?
It goes across, stops at that, I want to say that's the Smoking Pig right there. Lets kids off, they go in there, they come out. Am I right there?
No.
No.
They're not open late.
Tell me the name of it. There he is.
Rolling Mills, Rolling Mills.
Roller Mills is right there.
Yeah,
across
it's
from
not
the
so
bank.
it is rolling.
And the 7-Eleven or whatever.
Okay,
Car
that's
wash.
it, yeah. He's one of my favorites. That's it right there. So I just know it's a bar.
Right
and a
across
smokehouse,
Dino from
smokehouse.
First Citizens on 93.
Oh,
Oh, by
okay,
the
gotcha,
fraternity?
gotcha.
Yeah. So,
Near the Potbelly.
yep. Cool.
So
Other,
anyway, we try and keep that service, so.
thank you,
You're
Brian.
being very great, yeah, great,
Tip of the hat to you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Other questions or comments? Comments from the public? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the amendment to the original cat bus contract by adding an additional bus to service High Point, the Pier apartment complex during the 25-26 fall and spring semesters.
Okay, any other comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you again, Brian. Appreciate it. Thank you. Next is to possibly authorize the parking service manager to enter in negotiations for the City of Clemson parking study. Rebecca, good evening.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
All right, how you
all
doing?
right, how about you, Rebecca?
Pretty quick. So We went through our interviews, we did our submission, our bid submission reviews. We looked at 5 different consultant companies when we went through the bid submissions. Ended up interviewing our top 3. And of that grading matrix, Walker Consultants was selected, and I just want permission to enter negotiations for contract.
Walker who?
Consultants.
Okay. Where are they, South Carolina or Georgia?
I have that information. I believe they have a local office at Greenville, but they're out of Charleston.
Okay, so they're South Carolina, okay.
Misspoke, Charlotte, not Charleston.
Oh, I'm,
CH, I went with it.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, I said it wrong.
only have half a
I said it wrong.
brain,
It wasn't you. I said it wrong.
Other questions? Questions or comments from the public, sorry? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we authorize the parking services manager to enter into negotiations for the City of Clemson parking study.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thanks again, Rebecca, appreciate it. Next is mayor council reports, comments, new business. I'll make 2 quick comments, but they're very great comments. Daniel Band won state championship again. I think that's 4 years in a row, just FYI, if you didn't know that. That's a huge accomplishment, and we should never take that for granted because it happens a lot, but it's great to hear. And then also, Clemson Elementary today got an excellent rating. I think they knew about this a little bit before today, but and also a lot of the Pickens County schools did very well. So, and also I believe Oconee County did as well too. But if you get a chance, Clemson Elementary, they're doing a fabulous job. Excellent rating today. So.
I just wanted to commend Joan and our art center for everything they have done up until and to include the Pumpkin Palooza. Friday night, Bree and I were out there doing the judging of the pumpkins, and I'm not going to say anything much about that. But anyway, I mean, the crowd was unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing the turnout we had for that event, and I'm assuming the turnout for all the glass blowing sessions that have gone on. They ended yesterday, I guess yesterday evening at 7:30, but went for 2 weeks. I think that's at least 2 weeks. And I mean, so phenomenal job, and Joan needs to be given a massive amount of credit for everything she's done out there.
Kudos to her and her whole team. Yep, absolutely. Well said. Other comments? Any new business? Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All right. That was easy.
All those in favor?
Comments? No. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. We're adjourned. Have a great week.